Big Baby Miller. He decided to start 2024 with a bang, getting arrested.
He stole a car, which is kind of funny to me because he just got paid.
Anthony Joshua, instead of getting arrested, he was out signing contracts to fight Francis Ngannou.
I think there's only one outcome to this fight, and that's by knockout.
El Tigre de Venezuela.
That's one of the things that makes him very lovable, is that he is 40 years old, and he kind of looks like someone's grandpa. But don't let the looks mistake you. He is a dangerous opponent.
Tony Weeks, the man who messed up Barroso's title shot, did it again.
One of the worst calls in history, and just stops the fight. I think he should get fired. I don't think he should quit. I think he should get fired because I don't think he's gonna quit, and I don't think any commission is gonna give a real suspension or a real punishment towards him.
Welcome back, guys, to another episode of the Last Round Podcast, and welcome to the new year, 2024, first podcast of the year. And this past weekend, we had our first card of the year. Headlining Vergil Ortiz versus Lawson. Over in Vegas, and let's say it was a very very interesting card, with many highs and many lows, to put it bluntly.
An anticlimactic ending, for sure.
Blue-balled ending,
yeah.
Very blue-balled ending. Let's get right into it, let's talk some boxing. Let's talk about that event. Let's go right into the co-main event, this big one. We had Barroso, 40-year-old Barroso against O'Hara Davis, a UK fighter. Recently signed by Golden Boy. The week leading up, during fight week, Oscar De La Hoya even tweeted out saying, O'Hara Davis is going to become a world champion, at 140. So people were expecting Davis to come in and win, especially it was his Golden Boy debut. And I believe, if not, I think it was his first time fighting in America. So, people were expecting some big things from him, and Barroso being Barroso, yes, he got that unlucky ref decision against Rolly a couple months back last year. People didn't really think much of him, because he's 40 years old and, he's 40 years old.
He's 40 years old.
He's 40 years old. So, let's just say Barroso gave us the first biggest exciting moment of 2024. What do you guys' thoughts about that fight?
It was crazy, man. Barroso is showing that age is just a number. At the age of 40 years old, he is coming up with upset after upset. He got robbed in his last fight against Rolly. He was winning that fight, and if that fight would have continued and gone to its end, I believe that he would have been the world champion, and he should be the world champion. Tony Weeks stepped in, stopped it a little too early, and they brought him back for a world title eliminator, and he gets the knockout in the first round. I mean, it's really crazy to see. He really is the dark horse of the 140-pound division.
Yeah, you could say that because everyone was just kind of putting him off to the side, especially, with the controversial loss when he fought Rolly. After a big loss like that, on a big stage like that, given your age, it's possible that people aren't even looking at you no more. They don't really have hope in you. And starting off the year right, I think Barroso shuts some people up. With that spectacular performance. It's just tough that he's been before this fight, he's just been getting the short end of the stick. Now it looks like he's putting things on his own terms now.
Yeah, I mean, he has another chance to fight for the world championship that he got robbed against Rolly. They had a little back and forth in the ring, actually, because Rolly was in attendance this past Saturday. So it's interesting, man. It's interesting to see that Barroso is back in the world title run, and he could very well win a world title. I mean, Rolly, I think it's well known, the 140 division is a very stacked division at the moment. I believe it is the glory division right now in boxing, and the weakest champion by far is Rolly Romero. So if Barroso can get a rematch, he really has a chance to become a world champion.
Yeah, Barroso surprised me, especially just stopping your opponent who was like 9 years younger than you in the first round. Spectacular performance. I'm pretty sure that we can get that fight, although with him against Rolly. Although Rolly might be looking his eyes to fight Ryan Garcia, so who knows if that's going to happen. But yeah, I definitely want to see Barroso continue on to surprise me, really, and the fans.
Yeah, and Rolly wasn't lying when he said that Barroso was the hardest puncher that he's ever faced in the world, in his whole boxing career.
Let's break that down. It looks like just right off the bat there was almost no feeling out process for Davis. It looked like he kind of wanted to start off really quick right away. He was kind of like a little bit aggressive, and once he felt that power, he kind of stopped a little bit. But I think he still underestimated Barroso, which ended up leading to his demise.
Yeah, he definitely overextended. I mean, he threw a right hand down to the body. And again, no feeling out process. He was just trying to impose his will. He really wanted to show out. And you can't blame him. You know, he wanted to show out. Just got signed in the co-feature headline. And he overextended by the tiniest margin. Barroso placed a perfectly timed right hand. Left hand, I apologize. He perfectly timed left hand and just shut Davis's lights out. It was crazy to see. He stunned him.
He left him stunned.
And you could tell that Davis was not in there anymore. I mean, the eyes never lie. And I think it was a good stoppage because Davis continuously kept on looking down and around. You could see in his eyes that he did not want to continue. He did not want to feel the power of a 40-year-old Barroso.
Yeah, I think, like you said, you mentioned it perfectly. I think Davis and his entire team, one, underestimated Barroso, you know, and two, they were there to show out, you know, we previously mentioned, signed by the Golden Boy, and I think that's what costed him, you know, the mistake of him wanting to show out and kind of impose his will towards Barroso. And I mean, the commentators throughout the first round were saying how Barroso was telling them during fight week that he had been training for the counterattack, right? And so that's exactly what he did. He countered the man. He everything he learned in training camp, he applied it to the fight, and he finished him off in the first round.
He displayed it perfectly.
Yo, yeah, perfect. Yeah, that's what a true camp. You know, he displayed what he learned in camp, and that's what I think. It's a A+ performance from Barroso. He really showcased. He's really got dynamite in those hands. You know, he's not just an old man, you know, that people like to make memes of him, you know, on Twitter and stuff like that. He's actually a potential real deal, maybe a future world champion at 40.
And I think that's actually a good point because no one really knew who Barroso was, right? And then he got a world title fight against for the vacant title against Rolly Romero, right? So no one really, he was unknown, and then he pulls off a amazing performance against Rolly. You know, he was winning that fight. He loses, you know, he gets a controversial loss. Obviously, the fight should not have been stopped. I think everyone can agree on that. But there was a lot of questions surrounding him. Maybe it was just a one-time performance. Maybe Rolly just had a bad night. You know, there was still a lot of questions about him and his actual skill level. I think he displayed this past Saturday that he actually is a very high-skilled fighter. Not only does he have amazing power, which he's displayed, but he also has good countering technique that can rival the at the top of the 140-pound division.
Man, that's going to be such a dangerous combo. Being able to counter your opponent and you have dynamite in both hands. That's exactly what Barroso is. And yeah, it's just so he's just so there's something about him that you can't.
He's just so likable, isn't it?
So likable, El Tigre de Venezuela. Like there's something about it, and
Like the underdog.
just the underdog story, really, and the age as well. Like it's really crazy that old man strength is the last thing to go.
It's honestly true. I mean, I think that's one of the things that makes him very lovable is that he is 40 years old and he kind of looks like someone's grandpa.
Dude, he looks like a great grandpa.
He looks like a great grandpa, but don't let the looks mistake you. He is a dangerous opponent.
Well, he looks a lot older than when he did last year when he fought Rolly.
That is very true. I ain't gonna lie, he's balding a little bit.
Bro, it looks like he gained 10 years or something like that
Yeah.
since the last fight.
It's kind of crazy, but he's still able to maintain the level of activity. I don't know what they're feeding him over there in Venezuela. We gotta get into his diet or his something because his body is able to maintain this level of activity all the way at 40 years old is crazy.
That is very true, but I think we also got to take into consideration his for obviously his age, right? Like, you know, that's the main thing we have to take into consideration. Father Time gets everyone, you know, and Barroso is putting up some great performances right now, you know, against Rolly and now against O'Hara Davis. How long can he keep this up? I think that's the question that everyone, you know, is asking. was this a final show out that he could pull out, a performance like that at his age? Or how many fights does he have left? One fight, two maybe? Because, before, sooner or later, his performance is going to start dipping just because of the age. So I think it's very interesting to see how 2024 looks for Barroso, to see if he's able to keep up, keep displaying these performances. Or are we going to see that age is going to catch up to him and he's going to just fall out?
That's very true. And I think for every single time that he's able to pull off a stunning performance at that age, he's just going to keep on getting more and more fans and more and more lovable. So he's definitely one of my favorite fighters at the moment right now, just because of his circumstances. Such a crazy circumstance surrounding him. And just his skill level. Barroso is definitely my dark horse for 140. And he's definitely in the title run.
Definitely. So, it just can really interested to see what happens, what you said before, father time gets everyone. So, I mean, he definitely, if I were him or if I was, on his team, I would definitely advise him to kind of like, yo, let's lock this in. Let's try to get a title. Let's run it up. Or if not, let's go for another champion.
Yeah, I think he called out Rolly Romero. Obviously, he wants that rematch. They had a little back and forth. Another 140-pounder that actually fought on the card was Arnold Barboza, who also just recently got signed with Golden Boy and made his Golden Boy debut. And he is also calling for a title shot against Teofimo Lopez, Ryan Garcia. Not a title shot, but Ryan Garcia, Rolly. Yeah. He's calling for everybody. I think there could be a lot of title changes this in 2024. Because a lot of new names have joined the run, and they seem hungry.
Yeah, like you said, a lot of title changes. For example, Ryan Garcia just backed out publicly. Devin
publicly.
Haney. That whole fight they were supposed to fight. Sometime in the spring, and now apparently Ryan Garcia has backed out and has gone back to try to get a fight against Rolly. Which, in my opinion, if I was in Garcia's team, would be the better route for him, or the easier route, I would say, because him beating Devin Haney, for me, I couldn't really see it, But him beating Rolly Romero is a lot more possible. So, him deciding, just 180 or 360 or whatever, 180 change in direction for his plan. Now going for Rolly Romero. Imagine Ryan Garcia wins. New champ, new WBA champ at 140. Barroso gets a shot.
Imagine. Oh my goodness, we can see Barroso versus Queen Ryan Garcia. That's crazy.
That'd be insane, right?
That would be insane.
So, and like you said, there's a lot of Jermaine Ortiz is fighting Teofimo Lopez.
Lopez.
Maybe Ortiz pulls out the performance of his lifetime and dethrones Teofimo Lopez. We got a new champion there. Devin Haney, I don't know. He's probably, in my opinion, Devin Haney and Matias are the two guys who I think are very well settled to maintain, stay champions in 2024. The rest, in my opinion, is up for grabs.
Definitely, it's a very volatile division, and I think circling back it's one of the best divisions right now in boxing. I think 140. Usually it's overshadowed. 147 is always, since for a very long time in boxing history, has been like the glory division. Yes, 147. All the big names have always been there. Or 135 as well. Many great champions have, been in that weight class. And so I feel 140 sometimes doesn't get the credit that it deserves. But recently, I don't know what it is. These fighters have been outgrowing 135 and moving up to 140. Maybe some 147 pounders want to cut weight and go to 140. All I know is that there is a lot of big names, a lot of dangerous opponents in the light welterweight, junior welterweight division. There's a lot of big names there, and I can't wait to see big fights being made in 2024.
Big fights being made, but also you can throw in Barroso in with any of these other people, and he's going to put on a tremendous performance. Yeah.
So that was the co-main feature. So Barroso really, not only if you were to bet on him, this past weekend, you made a lot. Amount of money.
You made big money.
You made big money, especially if you also predicted him to win by knockout. I don't think anyone expected that first round knockout though. It caught everyone off guard. Came out of nowhere.
It really did.
Came out of nowhere. Dropped him twice, stopped him. Very good night. He just, like I said earlier, Barroso just brought us the biggest moment of 2024. He's essentially the fighter of the year right now. Barroso is fighter of the year.
So far, he's 2024's fighter of the year.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So great win. I think that was easily the highlight of the weekend for boxing. Now let's go to the lowest part of the weekend for boxing.
The
Vergil
main
Ortiz
event.
returned back to the ring after over a year of inactivity due to health issues. But, I mean, he's now at a new weight. He's fighting at junior middleweight or a super welterweight, 154. And for his comeback fight, he fought Lawson. And let's say his return was a bit, anticlimactic. It left me blue balled because I'm a big fan of Vergil Ortiz. I love his style. I like his personality as a fighter. So for him to not fight for such a long time and for him to return for only not even a full round, it felt a little unsatisfying for me, especially by the way how it ended. So Tony Weeks, the man who messed up Barroso's career essentially, or his title shot, did it again. Mm-hmm. He messed up with another call. What are you guys' thoughts about that?
Yeah, man, it was crazy to see, and I don't want to throw no hate towards Vergil Ortiz. He went in there and he did what he had to do, which is get his opponent out of there. And so he went in there to fight. He displayed some strength in there. He rocked his opponent with a jab. He rocked Lawson with a jab. And he started teeing off on him, and we saw glimpses of the old Vergil Ortiz, which is a good sign. He's been out of the ring for a very long time. Inactivity is one of the worst things for fighters that can really detriment their career. So, but he looked strong in there. He looked good, and then out of nowhere, Tony Weeks just pulls off one of the worst calls in history and just stops the fight. And it was crazy to see. Honestly, it got me really angry.
Yeah, so with Vergil's performance, there's not too much to critique. It looks like he still has that power, so that's good. It looked like that glimpse when he hurt him, and then he was kind of teeing him off in the ropes. That's good as well. So most of those shots were being partially blocked, but you could definitely tell Lawson was definitely feeling the punches. Even though they were, he was blocking him partially. He was definitely feeling that power within those fists. And then you got Tony Weeks, who should probably retire by now, stepping in way too early, too prematurely, just like how he did when Rolly fought Barroso. I really think it's time for Tony Weeks to call it quits, and I think the boxing community should kind of get together and ask the question: how old is too old?
No, I think he should get fired. I don't think he should quit. I think he should get fired because I don't think he's gonna quit. Yeah. I definitely don't think he's gonna quit, and I don't think any commission is gonna give a real suspension or a real punishment towards him. Yeah. This is one of the things. Boxing is dying. It's because of guys like Tony Weeks. People that are bought and paid for that just stop fights prematurely and just completely ruin such a beautiful sport. This is my favorite sport. And people like Tony Weeks, with these horrible decisions, have no reason being in the ring and stopping these fights at these times. They're really detrimenting the boxers' careers. Yeah. Like we just said, Barroso should be a world champion right now. Yeah. And he's not because of Tony Weeks. He pulled off this horrible stunt. The whole boxing community was absolutely pissed at him, and he's not going to get any punishment. He's not going to get maybe he'll get a little slap on the wrist. But other than that, he's just going to go home scot-free. This is the problem. We never hold any of these corrupt judges, referees, accountable for anything. So they're able to just continue refereeing and continue being in these massive fights with such high stakes for these boxers and for these fans. This is the reason why boxing is dying.
So what do you think should be done?
I think he should be fired.
Or completely have his license revoked?
His license revoked. I think he should not be able to referee a boxing fight for anymore. Any commission, at least in the U.S. Yeah, he should not have a referee license, boxing license, whatever license. They should take that away from him ASAP.
Yeah, I think so too. It goes back to the thing because I think this stems from a bigger problem. It's not just the referees, but it's also the judges. Dude, there's so many fights that I feel like many fans can just think off the top of their head. A big mega fight. The first one that I can think of is Canelo versus Triple G. Adelaide Bird. What kind of fucking scorecard was that?
118-110.
Yeah, well, that's
you're telling me Canelo won 10 rounds to 2?
No.
Are you crazy?
No.
No, absolutely not.
And that was, again, like what you said, there was a little repercussion. I think it was just a little slap on the wrist. I think maybe her license was revoked for a year maybe, but she's still back,
Still back, still refereeing big fights.
Big fights, big mega fights, small, big mega fights, little fights, all the fights, you know what I'm saying? So something needs to be done.
Something definitely needs to be done, and this is one of the reasons why boxing is looked down upon so much, and one of the reasons why there's always talks of, boxing politics are this and that, and this is why. This is a clear example. Starting up the year horribly, Tony Weeks was appointed not a world title fight, but a big fight. Vergil Ortiz is a very big name, a very hyped return, and for it to end like that is disappointing.
Yeah, well, going back to the whole Tony Weeks thing, I mean, Tony Weeks was a referee for, was it Castillo Corrales?
Yes.
And, I mean, they won a war. That's people consider that one of the greatest fights of all time, and they put a beating on each other, and yet Tony Weeks never stopped the fight. He let them brawl it out. Compared to now, Lawson, or even Barroso, he stops those fights, which makes you question his credibility or his judgment. His judgment towards stopping fights. But then Rudo put up a good, he brought up something interesting. He was also the referee for David Morrell versus, it wasn't a Brazilian. No, it was Kazakhstan fighter. I can't say his last name. I'm gonna butcher it so badly. But he was the ref for that fight, and David Morrell put the man in a coma, and Tony Weeks never stopped it. So I guess that does have. Do you believe that plays a judgment or plays a factor to the way a referee then decides to carry on his career after such a performance like that?
I mean, I think it could definitely linger in your mind, right? Like, boxers' health is ultimately your responsibility. So if after one of the fights that you referee, one of the fighters, one of the boxers is put into a coma, of course, it's gonna take a toll on you. Take a toll on your mentality, on how you judge a fight, how you react to when a fighter gets hurt. 100%, I agree. But I think that at the end of the day, this is boxing. I mean, this is a combat sport. People have died in the ring. Do you understand the risk that comes with lacing up the gloves and going in the ring? Especially a referee should. I understand that you don't want to obviously have a fighter get severely hurt in the ring, but you also have to understand that these boxers want to give it their all. I mean, they're warriors. They've been training this their whole lives, and for them to get such a big opportunity in a big stage, you also have a responsibility to them to let them, show out their best self and then put all the hours that they've put in.
I think, yeah, there's some truth into that. Like you just mentioned, these fighters sacrifice nearly everything in their lives to get to where they're at. A lot of these, especially the elite fighters. And there's obviously, the everyone knows the repercussions or the what's the word, the consequences of being in a combat sport. But I do believe Tony Weeks needs to retire. I don't know about fired, even though I do agree, I do see the point of you saying that. Well, he's not going to retire. Why would he retire?
Yeah, exactly. This is my point. He's not going to retire.
Yeah, that's the thing. That's the issue.
So he's going to continue to ref fights.
That's the issue. He should pull Kenny Bayless. You know what Kenny Bayless did? Kenny Bayless was like, I retire. Just like how Kenny Bayless,
I've seen.
He recently retired.
He recently retired.
Thank you, Kenny Bayless. But you were whacked the last couple of years, man.
Yeah, he wasn't that good.
He wasn't that good. But Tony Weeks, I think it is his time to go. Regardless if he gets fired or if he gets his license suspended or he just retires. Regardless, I do think everyone in the boxing community would rightfully agree that I think it's his time to go. Honestly.
I was trying to look up his age, and I think his age is like 79.
Tony Weeks is not 79 years old.
Dude,
Tony Weeks is not 79.
He's probably 79.
Bro, that boy does not even have gray hair. What?
It's the good genetics then, I guess.
70. Black don't crack, huh?
Black do not crack, I guess, dude. No, but he's old. Like,
he's not that old.
The age, I'm
he's
telling you,
not that old.
How old is old then? 65?
Something like that. Like, remember Miles? That referee?
Mills Lane?
Mills Lane. That's
yeah.
Mills Lane. Miles. Mills Lane. He was like 80, and he was still refereeing heavyweights, and he wasn't scared to get in there.
He was.
That's the referee we need.
Well,
Bring back what was his name?
Mills Lane.
Bring back Mills Lane.
R.I.P. Mills Lane.
That's the referee we're missing.
The intensity, but yeah, because he was still there. Like Tony Weeks is not there. He's either corrupt or his health is deteriorating.
He's corrupt.
Well, it's one of the two.
No,
it's one of the two.
This is one thing. Like, your refereing skills aren't gonna go down with age.
If you can't see correctly, I guess.
Well, I mean, yeah, if you can't see correctly, I suppose. But like, I mean, if you can't see correctly, you wear contacts or glasses.
I mean, like, if you have health issues and they're impeding with like your profession, I feel like that should be.
I don't believe he has any outstanding health.
He's just old. Yeah. I think that's what it is. He's not even that old. That's what it comes with.
He's
with
not
age.
That old.
You know what I'm saying?
He's not that old. I think Kenny Bayless is older than him.
Kenny Bayless, I think.
Kenny Bayless is older than him. A lot of referees are older. Remember, there's a ton of referees that are old.
This guy has been refereeing since like the 90s, I think. 94. Yeah, 94. I think it's time to hang it up. You know what I'm saying? I think it's time for him to go. Very long career. I think that just proves his age then.
No, I want to see boxing in general take a firm stand on like corruption like this. I want to see them take a firm stand and be like, this does not represent boxing. There is consequences for referees doing something like this or judges pulling off a horrible stunt like that. That's what I want to see from boxing. So I think it's boxing's responsibility. I don't even think it's Tony Weeks' responsibility because I know for sure he's not going to retire.
It's definitely the commission. That's who the people that should be having a say in this. Like they should really look into this because there was no need. Like even someone who doesn't even watch combat sports would have been seeing that and would have been like, why the ref stop it?
Man, even a pacifist would have been like, man, he's fine. Like what he didn't even get dropped or nothing. He was semi blocking the punches. Yeah, he got rocked, but this boxing, sometimes you get rocked.
Sometimes you get rocked.
Just the first round.
In the first round
Just the first
as well.
round, his gas tank is intact. Come on, man.
No, it was way too early. Something needs to be done.
Way too early, like.
Yeah.
Well, Tony Weeks, you really messed up everyone's weekend, especially for Vergil Ortiz comeback fight. But regardless, Vergil Ortiz got the win. He got the win. He didn't look. I guess he did. He thought people were heckling.
That was the funniest part. That was actually the funniest part.
I was like, nah, Vergil, you did your thing. Everyone, I think they were saying, you suck. You suck.
I think they were saying Tony sucks, and he thought that they were saying Ortiz sucks. It's like, no, don't worry about it. They're hating on the ref, not you.
I feel like Vergil Ortiz, his heart broke a little.
It kind of did. He kind of looked sad. I was like, oh, damn.
No, they weren't. Like, he did his thing. But regardless, I think one of the good things that we can get out of this main event for Vergil Ortiz is that he's back, and he called out publicly Tszyu, the champion, new champion at 154. And in my opinion, that is a cracking fight. Two styles that would clash and mix very well to create a very all action, high IQ type of fight. Because we all know Vergil Ortiz comes in with an aggressive style and he comes in to kill. That's his whole mentality, to break you down and just knock you out. His record says that. Tszyu, on the other hand, not only does he have power in his hand, but he's highly intellectual. He's thinking in there. As he showed in his fight against Mendoza, his most recent one, he systematically broke down Mendoza, and Mendoza showed he is a very tough contender. So Vergil Ortiz will have some trouble trying to decipher a fighter like Tszyu, and in my opinion, that would be one of the best fights in 2024 to make. What do you guys think about that?
Yeah, I think it's a good sign that Vergil Ortiz, he's already calling out the king at 154.
Yeah.
Tszyu just got crowned a world champion. I think that Charlo probably won't be fighting him or even anybody in a while. So
Charlo has his own fights outside of the ring.
Yeah, he has other problems. He's going through something. But so. It's just interesting to see, he's calling out the king. I think it's a good sign. It shows that, first of all, he still has his fire. That's good. Second of all, I mean, he's ambitious still. Like he
has something to prove. Yeah.
He wants big fights, and he's not going to settle just for like, a good 154 pounder. He wants to be the best 154 pounder. So I think it's a good fight and a good showing.
I think it's a good fight, but I kind of would like to see him get a belt first before he fights Tszyu.
Well, Charlo has all the other belts, doesn't he? Or did he vacate them? I don't believe. I think he just vacated one, no? Because Tszyu became the emo champion.
Oh, so he has
I'm
one,
pretty sure
and
Charlo
has
the
all
other
three.
ones.
Yeah, so I mean that's gonna be holding up the division.
Yeah, he's not gonna.
So I guess I mean I'm not gonna lie. I definitely like to see that, but I kind of want to see a little bit of the build up. You know what I'm saying? I want to see Vergil actually have a great performance. Just so they could be easily sold to the general public or whatever. But I would definitely love to see that fight eventually at the end of the year for sure. I think that could definitely be made.
I think the hype is already there. Vergil Ortiz is a big name. Tszyu, I think he kind of needs. He's a great fighter, and he's obviously a world champion now. So, but I just don't think his name is out there that much. In Australia, I think he needs like a US fighter like Vergil Ortiz, who has a big name here, also with Mexicans, and that way that Tszyu can grow as a fighter because he has the skills. I think he just needs to be able to. I think his marketing needs a little bit of work.
Yeah, it could be that too, or just global marketing and just being able to sell him across.
He could
all
be a superstar.
Fans. He could. He could. Yeah. He has the skills to do so, and he's world champion, like you mentioned. But back to Vergil Ortiz, this fight did nothing to him, to be honest. He's coming back from a very long layoff. He didn't even get one round in, and so I think Golden Boy really needs to put him back into the ring immediately. To get him. Get active. Get him a bigger fight. Not much of a mismatch like Lawson, but give him at least some type of body in there. Pause. Give him somebody who will pose some type of problem and will allow him to let the ring rust just wear off. So I think Vergil Ortiz needs to get back in the ring. Hopefully within the next 2 or 3 months, because anything longer, I think it will be bad for his career.
I think he wants to. He's been out of the ring 2 years because of health problems, and I think he has been itching to get in the ring and fight good fights. Because he is a boxer at the end of the day. He's a fighter, man. And these fighters, what they love doing is getting in the ring and beating people up for money.
Yeah, I think so too. Plus, this would be his third weight class that since he's turned professional, that he has not won a world title. He started at 140. He outgrew that. 147, he outgrew that, and now he's at 154. So I think he's definitely itching to really get his name out there a lot more and stuff like that. I think what you said, yeah, a lot of people do know of him, but I feel like the general public does not know of him yet. I feel like Tszyu has more of a bigger fan base just solely because he's from Australia. He has a whole country behind it, but yeah, I mean, knowing Vergil, like he would definitely want to fight Tim right away, but I really think fights like that has to wait maybe a little bit longer.
I don't think so. I think boxing fans have grown tired of the negotiation stage taking years. You know what I'm saying? And we just want big fights being made, because I think boxing, these organizations, they know how to promote a fight. Whether they do it or not is another question. But one thing's for sure, they know how to promote a fight. So I don't think any buildup should be made. One thing I want to touch on, though, is that this fight was actually a 156 catch weight instead of the actual 154-pound limit. Does that say anything to you guys? Do you guys think that's not a good sign for Vergil, that he might be even a bit too big for 154?
I don't think so. I think he, like we mentioned before, he's coming back from a very long layoff, and this layoff was not due to him not wanting to fight, but it was due to his health issues, right? He had issues cutting weight, making that 147 limit. So I think this fight, was made at 156 at a catch weight in order to, it's not a big fight, a big name. It's just for him to get back in the ring, get a feel of the ring again. So for him, weighing in at 156, I think it was good, They didn't want to push his body too much, because of the whole health issues. And it was just, really just to get him back and get him back into the rhythm, into the groove of how to, just perform in the ring.
Yeah, just like what Pablo said, kind of ish. Yeah, I'm thinking that it was just a comeback fight against a guy who's solid, decent, strong guy from Ghana. But that's what I'm saying. Like, I think another fight just to kind of like get his body really, really acclimated to the 154 division.
I think it says a little bit more about his team. I think they are still a bit scared about his health issues.
Yeah. I mean, that's what rightfully so, within reason, within his past two fights that he was going to try to fight, he had to pull out due to excessive weight loss.
or whatever he had.
Dehydration. And COVID cases, they said as well.
Yeah. So that's still fresh on their mind. So I don't knock his team for that. You know, I think that's just them being cautious. So yeah, I still do think that one fight more, him weighing in at 154 and then going from there, seeing how that goes. Yeah.
That could be good. You know, get him another fight before he fights Tszyu. Even though they both, you know, verbally agreed via social media. All reliable social media where all the great fights happened outside of the ring.
I swear, yeah.
Speaking of social media, I think one of the big things that was trending this past week was Big Baby Miller. Big Baby Miller, you know, he had a very below average performance against Daniel Dubois. Maybe had a pretty decent Christmas, you know, somewhat decent New Year. And he decided to start 2024 with a bang, getting arrested. Now, Baby Miller is a man of many controversies. You know, he's been accused of PEDs, which he's been not accused. He is a PED user.
He is a PED user.
He's a PED user, a big old cheater, and one of the biggest trash talkers I know who can't back it up. But I mean, I guess he got backed up and was put into jail for his actions. What are you guys' thoughts about Big Baby Miller?
I mean, it's kind of crazy. The whole circumstance is a bit weird. I mean, he got put in jail because of assault and burglary, something like that. Assaulted burglary. Yeah, he stole a car, which is kind of funny to me because he just got paid. So that tells me one of two things. One, he is like in the history of boxing, boxers suck at using their money, and he's already spent all of his money. Or two, that he's just dumb and just has a short temper, and then maybe the car salesman said something a bit witty to him that he didn't like, and he just put him in a chokehold and took the car.
No, it's pretty simple with what happened with Baby. It's obviously excessive steroid use, all that
Roids?
Rage. Yeah,
Rage?
It just came out. Yeah, that's what it was. He just came out,
and for some reason, just has the need to steal a car.
Maybe he gave out too many Christmas presents.
Yeah, I think he's just broke now. Yeah. Surprisingly. But again, it doesn't really surprise me. Boxers, historically, don't handle money very well. You know, we've seen that with every big boxing star.
Most big boxing
stars, of course. You know, there's always, some good ones, but.
Yeah, so that was a pretty crazy one. I don't know. That was so random.
That was very random.
Also, the mugshot was funny.
The mugshot.
But yeah. Yeah, it was crazy. But, Baby Miller had been calling out and was calling out during the build-up to the Day of Reckoning card for a fight against Anthony Joshua. And Anthony Joshua, on the other hand, instead of getting, arrested and getting put in jail, he was out signing contracts to fight Francis Ngannou. Ngannou it's crazy. This dude debuted, fought Tyson Fury. He's making his second return to boxing, and he's fighting Anthony Joshua. That has to be like the craziest start to your career of all time in boxing history. Because there's no one who's ever fought two champions back to back, especially two of the elite champions back to back like that. So props to Ngannou for getting the bag, for getting that bag, because he's obviously getting paid a lot more now than he was getting paid in the UFC. And also, Anthony Joshua, what does this do for him? Fighting Francis Ngannou. Let's say he beats him. Yeah, you're supposed to beat Francis Ngannou, right? So what does this? Why take this fight?
I think, firstly, I think the most important thing is to stay active. I think he wants to keep his name out there, keep his name relevant, and he wants to keep his skills high. He doesn't want to get rusty because for him, he's eyeing that the 3-time world champion. He's eyeing that. He wants the winner of Usyk Fury. So he wants another world champion. I think he's just trying to stay relevant, trying to keep his skills up. Don't let any ring rust. Just stay mentally there. I think he struggled a lot with that. I think he has to stay mentality-wise in the gym, work. And I think that's where he produces his best performances. So also, not to mention the fact he's going to get paid very handsomely. So, that's definitely a pro.
Yeah, all that you said, plus also the contracts that he had with the Prince. It was kind of like, if it wasn't going to be with Francis, it was going to be with Wilder for March. But, sadly, Wilder lost. So now it's they went to Plan B. So this is Plan B. And actually, I'm not even mad. First off, congratulations to both men, especially Francis. You know, getting paid another fucking big bag.
Mm-hmm.
Congrats to him. But two, I think he's gonna get knocked out. I think as I said before, this is AJ 2.0. AJ was like inside of a rock for like a solid month, just in the dark, just completely isolated, fighting demons, and I think he came out as a stronger version of himself. It showed against when he fought Otto Wallen. I think he's gonna continue to try to be like, yo, this is me. This is the old AJ, the newer, improved version. And if he does come out like as a victory, if he does win, it's gonna show like, you know, he is there. He's gonna try to go for the titles again and possibly be a 3-time world champion, heavyweight world champion.
Yeah, I think there's only one outcome to this fight, and that's by knockout. You know, either Francis Ngannou, which I don't believe will happen, or Anthony Joshua. You know, Anthony Joshua, yeah, I think he is back mentality-wise. His killer instinct is back. He wants to get knockouts. He's tired of trying to learn boxing. No, he's a big guy who has big power and is explosive. Use that, you know, and I think he is going to use it against Francis Ngannou, and I think he's going to get the devastating KO as well.
Yeah, I think, honestly, Anthony Joshua, he's going to win. That's my answer. But I think
Final.
I think this is I just believe it's a money grab fight, you know, because...
I mean, you're not wrong.
It's obviously the money fight. Like, it's money. So that's the only reason why he's doing it. He could stay active by fighting the Big Bang, you know. He could stay active by getting the rematch or having a rematch with Joseph Parker. He could stay active with other top 10 heavyweights in the division. Yet he's fighting Francis Ngannou. Why? Not because, you know, Francis Ngannou showed that he is, you know, he is some, you know.
He has skills.
He has skills.
You can't deny the fact he does have skills.
He does have skills. That is true. But the money behind him, you know, I'm telling you, he just knocked down the heavyweight world champion Tyson Fury, and people were saying he got robbed. So he obviously has a lot of hype and a lot of eyes behind him now that he's doing boxing. And of course, if they're doing it in Saudi Arabia, well, the Saudis are going to be paying handsomely, like you said, they're going to be playing good. So I think, in my opinion, this is just a pretty big and easy paycheck for Anthony Joshua. And it's like, if you're offered to give Joseph Parker a rematch, you know, and have the potential to lose, compared to fighting Francis Ngannou and getting paid a lot more than the rematch with Joseph Parker and having an easier chance of winning. I mean, it's kind of easy to know which one you're going to take, right?
Yeah, easier fight, you know, more money. Also, it's just a bigger, I think it's a mega fight as well.
Oh, yeah, it is.
Because, like, Francis Ngannou, he
Yes,
represents the UFC
the baddest
now.
man on the planet right now.
Baddest man on the planet meets AJ the Destroyer. I don't know. I try to give him a nickname. But, yeah, you know, I think it's he wants to kind of penetrate a little bit more into pop culture. And I think this is a good choice.
Look, well, the reason that you stated, yes, obviously, yes, he's getting paid handsomely. I think that goes a little bit part to the decision as to why he accepted this fight. But also, I think he needs a solid win, a solid victory against a guy who is a rugged fighter. You know, I think AJ is going to have to bring the best of him. And I think he has to, in another sense, he also wants to prove himself. It's been years since we've seen that fire in him. He's done everything from switching coaches to different training regimens to this and that to try to get that fire burning inside of him again. It looks like he has burnt that flame a little bit, and I think he really wants to put a stamp on that and really bring out that fire in him. I think that's what this is. I think that's what he's trying to do.
Mm-hmm.
Here's the thing. I got a lot of stick for this last time I spoke it, but I'll say it again. Tyson Fury, when he fought Francis Ngannou, overestimated him, and also he was too busy doing his other things. For example, his Netflix special, his whole like Kim Kardashian type of show that he did. He also had his energy drinks and yada yada. You know, he was doing complete other different things. He had been holding the division up for quite a long time. I mean, he literally fought Chisora for a trilogy. Like, no one wanted to see that fight. Tyson Fury was off doing his own thing. He took the Francis Ngannou fight because, one, it was an easy money grab. So I don't think you know how Tyson Fury is, you know, lying about, you know, how long his camp was, this and that. He's working very hard. And he got exposed, right, on the night that he was not working hard. AJ is working hard. So I believe AJ is going to absolutely wipe the floor with Francis Ngannou. I don't think it's even going to be close. I think for AJ, if we get the AJ who fought Otto Wallen again, then I believe AJ is going to absolutely knock out Francis Ngannou. And he's going to do it easy. He's going to showcase what Tyson Fury should have done to Francis Ngannou the first time.
So you believe that Francis Ngannou's boxing skills are overrated?
I believe they are. Okay.
Because, his performance, a lot of people give him a lot of credit. He's like,
That is true.
Your performance, his boxing skills, he competed with the best heavyweight of the modern era, Tyson Fury. But it's because Tyson Fury, wasn't taking the fight seriously. So, Tyson Fury's skills are usually up here. His skills were down here, and then Ngannou's skills were down here. But now they think Ngannou's skills is up here with prime Tyson Fury.
That's literally what it is. I think Tyson's performance attributed to Ngannou's performance. Obviously, if you look back at Tyson Fury's career and look at the fights that he performed the best in, you could clearly tell there was a big difference from his best to his performance against Francis Ngannou. And Anthony Joshua is going into this fight looking at that and saying, okay, like, I know Francis Ngannou have the potential to bring it if I bring myself down to that level. So I think Anthony Joshua is going to come in, work hard, and if he fights, like I said, if he fights the same way he fought Otto Wallin, he's going to wipe the floor with Francis Ngannou. And I don't think it's going to be close.
Yeah, I think so too. I think Joshua's going to bring it, man. And I think he's tired of, trying to box. I think he wants to really slug it out, with these guys, and he has the power to do it. And I think he's gonna catch Francis.
Yeah, he's tired of trying to look pretty, trying to change up his style than what he had in the amateurs and when he first started as a pro. I think he really wants to bang. He really wants to just get in there and just kind of like bang it out, brawl it out, and just be the heavyweight that he was accustomed to seeing. Plus, I think he also really wants to shut up the critics as well, because they have been very vocal, especially after his loss against Usyk both times and stuff like that, especially after when he was having that mental breakdown and whatnot within the ring. So yeah, AJ has a lot to prove, and I think he's gonna do it come fight night.
Yeah. Well, enough about the heavyweights, which are some big fights being made thanks to Saudi Arabia.
Thank you, Saudi Arabia.
They love the heavyweights, man. They love the heavyweights. But switching to the light heavyweights.
Yeah.
We got a big title fight this coming weekend. We have Arthur Beterbiev returning against Callum Smith. For Beterbiev's 2 titles. What do you guys think about that fight?
Dude, that's gonna be such a great fight that I think a lot of people don't even know about it. You know what I'm saying? It's this Saturday, the 13th, and yeah, Callum Smith, great fighter at 168, pretty tall guy for that division. Outgrew it. After he lost against Canelo. And, if you're not really following it, you just kind of stop hearing about him. But he has definitely gotten back to the top. You know what I'm saying? He has came back with tremendous performances, knockout reels. He looks even better at this weight class. And he looks better now. It looks like he's more the killer. So now he looks more full. It looks like he's there now. I think he's. Do you guys know how old he is?
I'm not sure.
But like he's there, like within his prime. A lot younger than Beterbiev. So it's gonna be a great fight, good fight. Yeah, I'm expecting a stoppage for sure. Arthur has a 100% KO finish ratio. So he comes to bring it. He's heavy-handed in both hands. But Callum Smith, it's a 2.0 version of him. He's looking tremendous. He can also stop Arthur. Arthur was having trouble against Anthony Yard, and he was kind of struggled a little bit. He pulled it off, but now Callum Smith, he's a smart fighter. Honestly, anything can happen. I think
Beterbiev is gonna wipe the floor with him.
You think so?
I think he's gonna continue his 100% KO rate, and I think he's gonna make it look easy, man. I don't think Callum Smith definitely has skills.
He's a lot faster too.
He definitely has skills, and he's long, but
taller, yeah.
But I just believe Beterbiev is he's a monster at 175, and I don't see anyone stopping him other than Bivol.
Look, I want to see that fight like everyone else. I want to see him against Bivol, but I really think I think age has caught up to him. He's just so slow, dude. Like he's so slow, like a robot. But like if he touches you, you're gonna go down. And I just think Callum Smith is just I think he's just too smart. I think he's too tall, and I think he's just too fast. And I think he has tremendous power that I think he might be able to pull it off.
So you picking Smith?
Dude, I'm picking Smith by a tiny hair. By a tiny hair.
What about you? What about you, Pablo?
So, you mentioned the good points. Beterbiev, if he touches you, you're dead, right? The amount of power he has in those. I don't think I've ever. It's so rare seeing such a fighter with that much power. Who touches you and he can break you. So I believe the fight is gonna go. It's gonna be a very close fight, but I think Callum Smith beats him.
Wow.
I think Callum Smith is gonna stop him.
No.
I think Callum Smith. Prediction: okay. Callum Smith is stopping Beterbiev. He's stopping the 100% KO streak, and he's gonna cement himself as the one of the best, number 1 or 2 best fighters at lightweight. Because light heavyweight. Because here's the thing. People are already kind of writing them off because Beterbiev and Bivol, that's the fight that people want to see at light heavyweight. And supposedly, they've already agreed to that, right? If Beterbiev is successful in defeating Callum Smith. Callum Smith is, he has shown that here's the thing. Callum Smith, I feel, is greatly underrated due to his performance against Canelo. Because Canelo made it look so easy against him. Canelo's first champion at 168. And he wiped the floor with him. You could tell you could make the argument that he sweeped him.
He completely outboxed him. It wasn't even close.
He couldn't touch him. It was insane. That performance was insane. But Callum Smith, like you said, has returned, and he has shown that he has one punch knockout power. If you look up at some of the videos at light heavyweight, and you'll see that this man can punch. So Beterbiev has shown that he can get hurt. Yard hurt him last year, and Beterbiev's only fight has been since that one. Yeah. It's been a full year since Beterbiev has been in the ring. Meanwhile, Callum Smith, in my opinion, is younger, fresher, more active, and possesses a higher IQ than Anthony Yard, which is why I'm leaning towards Callum Smith beating and knocking out Beterbiev. Yeah.
Well, we have all three of us, some pretty bold predictions.
Yeah.
Wow, that's interesting.
Bold predictions for a fight that's dude. There's gonna be fireworks, dude. Even the casual that tunes in is gonna be, I think they're gonna come out pretty happy with the result, with whatever way it goes. Mm-hmm. It's just gonna be fireworks.
Mm-hmm. Definitely, yeah.
So I think we got everything, right? Yeah. So those were our predictions for Callum Smith versus Beterbiev. What do you guys think? Let us know down below. Also, is Tony Weeks washed up? Man, let's be honest. If he washed up, bro, let us know that too.
Fire him.
Yeah, let us know that.
Revoke his license.
Rolly Romero versus Ryan Garcia. Who wins that fight? Follow us on all of our social medias. We are on X, TikTok, and Instagram. Also subscribe to the YouTube channel. Don't forget to like and comment. So we also have a Discord, so don't forget to follow that. So yes, just let us know what you guys think. We're active on all social media platforms. This was the Last Round podcast, bringing you another episode and an episode to start off the year. So hopefully we can continue doing this, and we'll see you in the next one. Thank you.